After committing to buy this guitar, I learned about a bonus. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Tonight we're reviewing the brand new Gibson Marcus King ES-345 Signature. This thing's pretty cool because it's got a few special features that we haven't seen from a Gibson USA product before. And Marcus is a pretty cool dude overall, and the story behind this instrument's quite fascinating. This is a guitar that's been passed down generations in his family, from his grandfather to his son, Marvin King, and now to him, Marcus King, of which, if you're not familiar with his works, check him out. He's a breakout blues musician with a whole bunch of history and heritage to him. And Big Red's so popular, in fact, that this is the second time that they've made it, because it was in 2021 that they did a custom shop version, which was pretty much a one-for-one recreation of that instrument. For this new one, he wanted to simplify it to get the price down, but have everything that makes his guitar special still there. For example, this still has the Gibson Custom Shop custom buckers. Fantastic. We still have the look of a vibrola, but they actually took the arm off. Like, this is technically still a stop bar tailpiece, which is the feature that made this a must review, because the only other time I think we've seen that stock was actually around 2014, the Derek Trucks SG. It had the Maestro Vibrola style plate just drilled onto it, so you get the cool looks, but without the tuning instability. This is the first time I'm aware of Gibson utilizing the sideways Vibrola like this, so that's fun. We've got Marcus King's name on our custom-made plaque. They made it mono this time and took away our Veritone, but let's be honest, Veritones are fun, but you don't necessarily need them on the guitar. And otherwise, they kept it up with the gold hardware, made things looking nice. But do you see something that might make this one a little bit extra special? That's right, this one was signed by Marcus King back here. Now, if you're curious, was there a signed and non-signed run? No, this one came from the Gibson Garage. After I told them, yeah, I do want one, let's go ahead and buy it, they said, oh yeah, we forgot to tell you. This is one of the ones that he signed because he was doing a little launch party clinic with them. So he signed 5 of them at the garage, and it was just a bonus. So I thought, hey, that's pretty cool to document. And on top of that, we've got some pretty cool wood grain on this one. I've only seen one other one that was better. It was over on Reverb. It looked like this. That was a nice one. But let's say you're just in the market for an ES-345 and you don't necessarily know about Marcus. Should you still consider his guitar? Here's some things to keep in mind. The Marcus King's $4,000. A regular ES-345 is going to range between $3,800 and $3,900 brand new, depending on if you want the common color or the Gibson.com exclusive with gold hardware. Now keep in mind, there's always the used market and the demo shop, so definitely factor those into your search if you don't have to have absolutely brand new. But that's going to have the calibrated T-type pickup set versus Gibson custom buckers. Both are nice pickups, but generally speaking, if you ever had to sell those separately, the custom buckers might be worth a bit more. We already talked about the tailpiece situation. And remember, you could always change out the Marcus King plaque if you didn't like it for a custom made. The only other thing I noticed that was different is this run has Grover tuners, which some people might prefer. So overall, as compared to another new one with gold hardware, it kind of seems like a no-brainer to go for the limited edition artist signature, because these tend to hold value a little bit better than a regular. Personally, I'm really excited to tear this one apart because I want to know, can I actually string this up as a regular stop bar tailpiece? Are there studs hiding underneath there? But besides our guitar, it comes with your pretty standard Gibson case. I will note, this case is rather noisy on its hinge. But as far as case candy, oh my goodness. That's actually really generous of them. I was not expecting that in the case. You can put the custom made plaque on there if you want it to look more like Marcus's, or you don't want his name on your guitar. That's very nice. Otherwise, you get a polishing cloth, some adverts and safety manuals, still get the multi-tool with a basic Gibson strap. There's our warranty information and pre-pack checklist, case keys, silica packet, and for historical preservation, the original price tag and box tag. But so far, just seems like a fun ES-345. I love these things because of the triple ply binding. That's what makes it different from a regular 335, is you got that 2 additional layers right here. You get your upgraded split parallelogram inlays, and sometimes Veritone, sometimes gold hardware, but construction-wise, it's about the same. But we'll go over all that and more on the workbench, so let's get on over there now. Let's just say I'm really glad I did not skip this review. We're actually going to start down here. Look at this goofy little tailpiece. When you first get the guitar, it looks like this. In order to secure this outer kind of classic car looking cover, it utilizes 4 large screws that then go into that base right here. And normally when you tear apart a sideways vibrola, it would look like this. But since we don't actually have the arm or any of the springs to actually use it, and this is just a stop bar tailpiece, that's all they need. So this is a completely new custom thing. I wonder if we'll see it put on more guitars now that they've done it. But here's what the inside of that cover looks like. Pretty similar. But then they over secure it with 4 screws right there. They're extra long. They go into your center block. And then if you remove this, you're just left with those 4 holes. And here's what the backside of this looks like. Now, if you're thinking, hey, isn't that kind of a real pain in the butt to change strings? I have to take all that off every time? No. They've actually made a larger input area for your string to go in. Then you pull it up, so it's just like any regular trapeze tailpiece. You don't have to remove it to change strings. All because of that slightly enlarged area at the bottom. That's a lot of fun. But what if I told you the fun does not end there? Not gonna lie, very surprised they actually took the time to put the stop bar studs in there. The way the ad was reading made me think maybe, just maybe. But when I got it and saw how flush that was, I was like, well, maybe not. But sure enough, they are there. So that means, in theory, you can have it set up as it is stock, or go for the custom-made plaque. Or I guess technically if you want to, you could just leave it exposed like that. You can also opt to go full Derek Trucks mode, just having that at the back side of the guitar for the looks, and then string it up like normal. Because that's the thing. If you string it up down here, you've got more string length in between here, so you'll get some sympathetic vibrations. And it does indeed change how the guitar feels due to the lesser break angle. So there would be a difference between stringing it up like this or down there. You could also opt to remove the bottom plate in general. And that's the beauty of it. The way they install that custom made plaque, you just have one little screw off to the side of each stud, of which is about perfectly covered over by the stop bar tailpiece. I love the fact that we've got the options. However, please keep in mind, they do not include a stop bar tailpiece. This is one I just had in my parts drawer that I brought over here for reference. I suppose if you really can't make up your mind based on the things that are included in the case, you could put both of them on there. Just only secure it utilizing the screw hole that you have available. That has a interesting vibe, or perhaps you'd prefer them this way. It is fun to see how they changed it up. Marcus King's name is very big and bold, whereas the old-timey 60s custom made is like jagged. But moving on to our bridge, it's just a regular Gibson ABR1, however it's Gibson USA, so it's still mounted just like a Nashville style bridge with bushings in the body, and Gibson USA has the hex key adjustments up there if you want them. But now our pickup situation. Are they telling the truth? Do we have custom buckers? Sure enough, in all caps even. Custom bucker. So if they have the same pickups, why would anybody buy the custom shop one? Well, that came out first, and trust me, there is a feel difference. It's the law of diminishing returns. This is a great guitar, and so are the custom shop ones. They're going to be very similar, but I think they did a great job of getting this as close as they can within Gibson USA. But these custom buckers appear to be wax potted. You can see the residue on it. I get readings of 8 in the bridge, neck position about the same, and middle just for fun, 4. But as far as our routes, here's what we're working with. It's technically a long neck tenon on our mahogany neck. And you can see our maple center block with our spruce bracing, and then our top is maple, poplar, maple sandwich. And that's true for the edges as well. And as is typical, we've got a bunch of wooden shavings. And generally, when you buy one of these things brand new, you'll see a whole bunch of wood shavings in your case when you open them. That's just to be expected. I'd imagine they do try to sweep them out, but things just get jostled loose. It is what it is. But for a closer look, here's the endoscope. Now you can see those different layers of wood that form the top. That poplar is a very different color from the maple. Here we can see that little cavity route. Let's see, do we fit in here? Sure enough, we can take a small adventure to eventually get inside the guitar. There's all of our pots and wiring. We've got our curved edges. But we can get a better look through our bridge pickup cavity because they route away a little bit more of our center block here. But just like on the top, how we saw this spruce bracing right here, we also have that underneath our center block right here. That's what we're seeing that is exposed. Then this is just the back. That's the plain maple. And we can't see too much of the sides due to the curved edges, but we can see kind of an interesting knot in the wood right there. And then all the way up here, that is the cutaway. They put that larger block in there before they finish that off. And here, once again, is our center block, but it's routed away a little bit for our other pickup selection. That's that small cavity we came through earlier. And for our electronics, looks like CTS pots to me. Orange drop capacitor, regular switchcraft 3-way toggle. I was curious about a grounding wire because I did not see any of that for our tailpiece. However, it appears that it runs through there and goes to our regular stop bar tailpiece stud. So apparently that's good enough. But moving on to the base side F-hole, we can see our orange sticker, reads gloss 345. We've got our serial number dating it to the 120th day of 2025. Otherwise, we're just seeing much of the same. However, here's a really good look at that maple center block with the bracing that we were talking about earlier on both sides. Not the nicest looking wood in here, to be honest. It's got a lot of dark streaks to it. Here's our other cutaway, and you can see some glue seepage. And then finally, the bottom side of the guitar. Always fun to take an inside look. Well, coming back up for air, I wanted to take another second to appreciate that triple ply binding. It really is my favorite feature of an ES-345. It just transforms the look so much because it's not a small black layer, it's a thick black layer. So it really does catch your eye and just make it look that much more fancy. And I suppose while we're at it, we can take a quick peek at our stock pick guard. It's one of those ones that has a plastic block melded onto it, so it stands up a bit more with its bracket. But nothing fancy with any of those controls, just 2 volumes, 2 tones, a regular output jack on the front, and 3-way toggle. And moving on from our body, regular mahogany neck with rosewood fretboard. This one conditioned up quite beautifully. We've got acrylic inlays. And as far as the specs, it's pretty standard. As a 12-inch fretboard radius, 24 3/4 inch scale, a 1.7-inch nut width that increases to 2.086 at the 12. First fret neck depth approximately 0.83 and stays kind of skinny, 0.92 at the 12. It's a rounded C shape, but yeah, I would definitely categorize that as thin. Here's a look at that neck profile at the first fret and the 12th fret. Definitely a little bit more rounded at the beginning, but still maintains that C shape, but a little bit flatter. If you're curious how that compares to a regular 345, here's one that we reviewed about a year or so ago. As far as QC, I do see quite a few tooling marks around the edge of our binding. Not Gibson's finest work, but far from the worst. Our headstock looks pretty nice though. Just a straight clear coat with our Gibson mother of pearl logo and matching crown with our golden grovers. Here we can see our bare mahogany neck in our truss rod route and our regular Gibson USA style truss rod cover. Blank. Now that we've got it all strung back up, I thought of a few other things I thought we should talk about. So A, if you were confused when I was talking about sympathetic vibrations, here's what we're talking about. When you strum the guitar, even if you stop, these will still ring out. Now, some people like that, other people despise it, but at least this gives you the option if you'd rather just have it be a stop bar tailpiece and just leave this on for the cosmetics. The other thing, the reason why the old custom-made plaques were actually put on there were to hide the old studs like we just saw underneath there. But if somebody wanted a Bigsby, they would just like take it off the line and be like, oh, let's cover that over with that. But I truly was shocked to actually see them there because I thought for sure they would just forego that process to save a little bit of money, but I'm glad they didn't. It made this special and makes it even closer to his vintage original. Now, as far as whether his custom shop one has that or not, I haven't documented that one yet. Now moving on to the back, not a lot to talk about here because all the electronics are fished through that bridge pickup cavity. Remember that large opening that was in there? Yep, that's there for a reason. But you can see some beautiful wood grain back here. It's kind of an unfortunate spot for him to sign the guitar because that's right where it rubs up against everybody's body. So if you happen to be the next owner of this one, get that clear coated if you appreciate it because that's not gonna last. But you will notice the backside binding is only single ply. So on a 345, the 3-ply is only there on the top. Well, here's another viewing angle to appreciate our wood grain. Then we can also take a look along the edges. Nothing too fancy here, just nice grain. And then, not gonna lie, this has a very, very unfortunate wood pattern right here. Not only on the back of the neck, but also on the side. If I did not know any better, like had I not purchased this brand new, I would suspect that's some sort of a headstock repair. So you have this documented here. I'm the original owner to this guitar. That's how it came from the factory. It is not a repair, even though it does look suspicious. And we have something kind of weird going on with our clear coat right there. I'm not sure if Marcus actually played this one while he was there or he just signed it, but there is some mild play wear. So something to be aware of. But here's our Golden Grovers, and you tell me, does that serial number match from before? I think so. But all said and done, the Marcus King signature weighs 8 pounds, 5.5 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how it sounds. Wow. Gotta say, I'm quite impressed with that. Very different dynamics between the neck and bridge. It's a very light and airy sounding neck pickup. Almost like you have a baritone and it's on one of the other switches. I like that. But the bridge is so bitey. But it's super touch responsive too. That's what I was trying to demonstrate there. Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really impressed with that. Like, I'm not even touching the volumes or the tones on that. That's just how it comes stock. you're wondering why that sounded so dark, remember that 3 Pickup Black Beauty episode? Yeah, I figured out why that one sounds so dark. I was playing a Stratocaster and I put my amp in the 2 setting to fatten up the single coils. Here we go. That's an example of why sometimes you like the ringy string. For the BB style, sometimes it gets like a natural reverb to it, I guess you could say. Now that we know all about the Marcus King ES-345 signature, what are my final thoughts? Wow. I mean, regardless of everything else that we talked about today that was fun, these custom buckers sound phenomenal. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we reviewed the regular ES-345, but this is just a completely different beast. I think it's well worth the premium if you're already purchasing a brand new one. You might as well consider one of these. However, if you weren't impressed at first, at introduction, maybe this video will show you that maybe there is something to them custom buckers. Personally, I found the ringiness of this guitar to be a little bit annoying, but there's other ways that you can dampen that, or again, you can change your tailpiece orientation. I mean, maybe some of the reason why this one feels so nice to play actually comes down to that. I'm certainly not going to forget this one. This is logged in my memory as a phenomenal sounding guitar. But I did find the fretboard to be just a little bit scratchier than usual, like when your finger drags across it. But otherwise, I didn't really notice anything too much QC-wise as far as affecting the playability of the instrument. So, all right, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the Marcus King signature with me today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.